and I wanted to make a video this morning because I got an email yesterday and somebody asked me about this person who, the situation here where this person who's a fruitarian, her name was Hilde Larsen, and she died apparently. And she was very active on YouTube, and she was very active on social media. And she was a healthy woman eating a healthy diet apparently, and she just died. So people are asking about that. And of course, when something comes up like this, first of all, it's a very sad thing. My heart goes out to her family. But people always question the diet. Whenever somebody dies, no matter what they died from, right away people go, well, what were they eating? How were they eating? Or if they were healthy, well, I thought what they were doing was healthy, and they're surprised. Like if somebody's eating unhealthy and they die from a stroke or a heart attack, or some people like, they're not surprised. But people are surprised when somebody's eating supposedly healthy and they do die from a heart attack or something. And it's quite shocking. Like, what can this person have done wrong? Like, what the diet. So I really didn't know this person personally, and I didn't even know about her social media presence. And now looking back at some of the videos, I'm glad to see it. And some of her information was quite motivating, and it appeared to have been working for her with her diet. But my point is, we don't know what a person's going through besides just the food they're eating. So like myself, for example, as it's getting sunny here, let me try to get out of the sun. Well, nothing going to help there, but we don't know what a person's going through in their life in general. And there's other factors when it comes to our health other than just the food we're putting in our bodies. Stress levels, how we deal with stress, the toxic environment around us, and the physical things that we take in our life and go on in our life. Not everyone knows about these different things. So it's hard to pinpoint, well, this person died because of this. And yes, the reason they died has something to do with it. And you can't discount an accident. But that's my friend who's 92 years old. He's a raw food diet. He says he could fall down tomorrow and hit his head and die. And people will say, oh, it was his diet. It's just the way people are. People want to look at the diet and focus on the diet and everything else, but we don't know what else is going on in people's life. So apparently, this lady, Hilde Larsen, was 56 years old, and there are rumors, I don't know if it's true, she died of a heart attack. Now, the body, but there's certain things like cancer and certain things where, you know, they come quite quickly. You could feel amazing and then, get a diagnosis where you have stage 4 blood cancer or stage 4 cancer or something. There are some things that there aren't warnings that something is going on. Usually when a heart attack is a result or a stroke, there was some foretelling warning in the blood work of cholesterol, something like this. And I'm not just talking about this person. I'm just talking about the point is when you're eating a particular diet that you think is great or working just for you or something else, please, please, please don't discount getting blood work done and monitoring your blood work. Even with cancer, there are signs to point that something might not be right over there. So from a vitamin, a mineral standpoint, definitely get your blood work checked. But also as a preventative medicine, as a preventative disease area of something to do is get your blood work checked to make sure whatever you're deciding to do, make sure what you're doing is working. Is working for you. So again, I didn't know this person, and my heart goes out to a family, but please, everybody, don't discount life and the things that we don't know what's going to happen tomorrow. And just because if you're out there eating a raw food diet or a vegetarian diet or a fruitarian diet, it doesn't make you invincible. We're all going to die one day. I remember hearing a cancer specialist once say, and he's a very well-known cancer doctor, not raw or healthy or anything like that, just this typical doctor. And he actually said the greatest way to die is cancer. What? It's just bewildering that somebody could even say that. It sounds like no compassion at all. But his point was, When you have cancer, you have time to say goodbye, as opposed to an accident or a heart attack, or, you get shot or something. Like you're here one moment, you're going the next. With cancer, it's a very slow and sometimes quickly progression, and it's not fun at any means, but at least you got a chance. You kind of know what's happening or what's going to happen, bearing a miracle or something. So, but the point being is, we're all going to die regardless if it's instantly or long term or whatever, and we need to realize that. And we need to realize that as good as a raw food diet is, and as good as the vegetarian diet is, there's no diet that's gonna stop us from one day dying. And yes, doesn't seem right that somebody who's 56 years old and eating a healthy diet would die from a heart attack. So if that's the case, I don't know if it's been revealed yet of the true cause, but there was an obituary, but it didn't name the cause. I remember a couple of years ago, there was a fruitarian doctor, and he had some kidney or liver problems, and he went on a dry fast, and he ended up dying, and that made a lot of headlines and a lot of news. All because people die every day, but just because somebody's promoting a diet, then all of a sudden they talk about, well, this person's supposed to, this diet's no good. And I'm going to start to get calls about this, well, if your diet's so good, why did this person die of so on? I remember when I think it was what Linda McCartney died when I first became a vegetarian, people saying, oh, vegetarian is so good, why she die of this? Not all diets, equal up. A vegetarian diet can be healthy or unhealthy. A raw food diet can be healthy or unhealthy. But look, you got to do what works best for you. That's what you have to do. You got to do what works best for you and your schedule and your life. So whatever you're doing, monitor your blood work to make sure it's working for you. And if it's not, do something about it. One of the people I interviewed a long time ago in my book, The Raw Life, said he's not willing to die for his beliefs, meaning if what he's doing is not working, he's going to do something different. So even if he believes it's the best thing to do, if it's not working, if you keep doing the same thing and you expect a different result, that's a definition of insanity. I could tell you the best way I've seen over the years. I've interviewed a lot of people who've been sick and made a transition to a healthier diet, myself included. I could tell you what's worked for me and what I've seen work for a lot of people. And a lot of people can scrutinize and question of what such and such person did wrong and what didn't work and so on. But often people don't know they're making a mistake until the mistake is already made, right? And for example, I got better from inflammatory bowel disease, ulcerative colitis, and Crohn's disease, a deadly disease. It's extremely painful and deadly. And I got better. I went to Hippocrates Health Institute. I followed the program and I got well. And I was pretty severe. My best friend at the time, or a little after, got diagnosed with inflammatory bowel disease. And he did not want to go my route. He didn't want to do what I did. So he ended up getting his colon removed. And here we are some 20, 30 years later. And I'm still doing okay, and for all these years, I was doing okay. Only when I started to get off my diet a little did I start experiencing some issues, but I got right back on the diet and I'm okay. But here he is years later. He doesn't have any problems with his colitis because he doesn't have a colon, but, he's still a little overweight, and, I don't know how his blood work is or anything else that's going on with him, but but fast forward now, there's a raw foodist, a raw food eater who was a raw fooder, who was very well known or is very well known, who ended up getting diagnosed with colitis, and he was eating a raw food diet for a long time, and he got colitis on a raw food diet. And I know this person was sticking to an all raw food diet, and he got colitis. So that shook him. That started to, what am I going to do now? Obviously, this diet's not working for me. And I believe one of the mistakes was he decided that, diet is the only thing that determines our health, that there are aren't other things in our areas that determine our health, our stress levels, our spiritual health, and and our other factors in our lives completely have an impact on our health, not only diet. And I understand totally that if somebody's eating a diet and then they get diagnosed with a disease, they can say, well, that diet's not working. That'd be the first natural thing to think. But we got to think, what other factors are there into play here, and so on. You know, the cure for disease is to eliminate what's causing the problem. And if it is diet, yes, you need to change your diet, but it's not only always diet. And from my understanding of the way the human body works and diet and everything else, the raw food diet, the raw vegan diet is the best diet for overall health for everyone under any circumstance. Now, there are different ways to eat a raw food diet. And, you know, some are healthier than others. Some might be better suited for athletes. Some might be better suited for somebody who has a cancer or something. But still, the key to health is to give your body the most nutrients while using the least amount of energy to get those nutrients with very little amount of waste left over. That's what the raw food diet does. Every other diet out there does the opposite. It gives your body the least nutrients while making your body work the hardest to get rid of the waste. So I believe that the raw food diet is the best, but when somebody gets diagnosed with a disease or dies, then all of a sudden people start questioning this. So this person I know who had was diagnosed with the same thing I was diagnosed with, colitis, ulcerative colitis, tries his hardest to eat a diet that's going to be helping him. First, he gets into the fasting, and then it doesn't work. So then he goes into changing his diet in all these different areas, and nothing seems to be working. But he's still stuck on that. It's all about diet. Everything's about diet. It's all about diet. I don't know what else this person did besides just changing his diet, but every time I saw him, he was talking about his diet. He had to change his diet. He had to add certain things, he had animal products back to his diet, but nothing seemed to work. And he was literally dying. No matter what he was doing, wasn't working. Maybe there was something else that was contributing to his illness, because there are definitely other factors other than diet that are related to this, but diet is a big one. So he finally decides to get his colon removed. He gets his colon removed because when you have ulcerative colitis, the inflammation is in the colon, but Crohn's disease, which is very similar to ulcerative colitis, could be in other parts of the body. So he gets his colon removed. Everything's supposed to be great, like one of my friends that I grew up with who had the same situation, but it's not great because he's still suffering from issues. And then he goes back, and then they find out, well, it really wasn't ulcerative colitis, it was Crohn's disease, which is throughout all the intestinal tract. And just getting your colon removed wasn't going to heal it. And so basically the doctors made a mistake. They misdiagnosed him. But the point being is that, you know, everything to him was just diet. And I'm sure he's doing some other things because he knows about a lot of the other things out there. But the key is, if what you're doing is not working, you have to look at something else. And, you know, and I pray for his healing, and I pray for just wisdom for all of us to know about these other non-health issues, non-diet health issues that can contribute to us. Some of it is hereditary. Some people just, you know, if certain inherited weaknesses run in the family, well, maybe that person might have an inherited weakness, but that doesn't mean you have to succumb to it. That means even more important, you should try to avoid something like that, or something that's going on with that. So yeah, I don't know in this particular case with this Fruitarian lady, if it was a stroke or a heart attack or what the exact situation was. But here's the thing. My friend's 92 years old, Dr. Fred Vichy, and he says there's no long-term raw food eater who's lived any longer than the average person. And I know several people that are in their 80s and some in their 90s that they don't even eat a healthy diet, and they're surviving. So why, you know, are people that aren't eating a healthy diet dying younger? Health isn't all about diet. You know, I could tell you many of those people I know that are not eating a healthy diet, but still living in their older age, they certainly have a better attitude than those people that are dying earlier attitude is a tremendous thing. I mean, most old people I know have a great sense of humor. They have a great attitude. They have a positive outlook on life. Most people I know, regardless of how they're eating, that die young, were depressed or had some mental, psychological, emotional issues going on or something else. And attitude has a lot to do with these things. And yes, it's not easy to have a good attitude if you're diagnosed with the disease, but I tell you what, it could definitely make a difference in your healing if you do. Nobody said things weren't going to be easy, but we have to have the right outlook or attitude about these different things. So, I didn't know about this person or the diet they were eating or how they were eating, but it doesn't change the message that I'm trying to convey here and give you all, that we need to take care of ourselves on every single level. And another great one is, I know a lot of people that eat a vegetarian diet and they stop exercising. They think, oh, food's everything, so they don't exercise. And this is a big problem. I really believe it's a big problem. And I think it's one of the reasons why Jacques Lalanne lived to such an old age or older age, because he exercised so much. He's very fit. But just because you're fit doesn't mean you're healthy. But fitness can keep you to some levels of health that if you didn't exercise. So yeah, and then so there's some suggestions out there that there's people like a lady named Anne Wigmore, who in the 70s was promoting the raw food diet and people getting better from cancer. Well, back at that time, there was a lot of controversy, and just like today, about medicine, natural medicine versus the typical medicine, which people make a lot of money off of. And there's, I don't necessarily want to use the word conspiracy theories, but Anne Wigmore died as healthy as she was eating in a fire. And she died. And some people say it was an accident, but some people say, well, that really wasn't an accident. And then some people are suggesting or will suggest here that this lady was right in what she was doing. She was healthy, she was healed, and she was doing great. So that creates a problem for other people. So possibly, just possibly, there was other reasons behind her death. I don't know, but I know a man, and what's his name? Andrew Moretz, I believe it was. He wrote the liver flush, the gallbladder liver flush book, and a great book. And I interviewed him on my show several times. He ended up dying. Some people will say, well, he was definitely a genius and he was taken out because he just had too much knowledge and too much information. And other people say, well, maybe that wasn't good what he was doing. A lot of people are going to discuss or have ideas about why people do certain things. But my point being here today is, we know what a healthy diet is. We know what a healthy diet isn't. At least I hope we do. Just because somebody's eating a particular way and doesn't survive, don't discount eating healthy or eating a vegetarian diet. I don't personally believe in fruitarian diet. I think some greens are important, and people have told me this person was a fruitarian, but maybe she did eat greens or whatever. But regardless, the body is amazing. Some people think it's amazing that somebody could eat like a raw food diet and get better from something like cancer. I think it's amazing that somebody could eat McDonald's as long as they eat it and not get cancer. The body is amazing, and there's so many levels of things that reasons why people get sick and don't get sick. So we got to just take every day and live it to our best. And I do believe in treating our bodies the best way possible so we can go out there and do as much as possible. And I know people that have car accidents and they have a bad neck and they can hardly walk and they're in pain. And then I know other people that are just lazy, weak, and tired. Some things are not under our control, but some things are. But what are you doing? Are you doing your best to be as healthy as you can be? So I don't want this to discourage anyone with the news here. Again, pray for this person's family. It's never a good thing when somebody loses their life. but I want you to be encouraged. Even more of an important, I think this is even more of an important to eat a healthier diet, not less, and to monitor our blood work and to watch what's going on and to be careful with all these things. So yes, Arnold Ehret is another one. He wrote some great books, and they said he fell and hit his head and died. Some people have questions about that as well. And so, you know, I mean, my friend, Dr. Fred Vichy, he's in his 90s. And I remember, you know, in his office, he had mold growing in the walls, and really toxic mold that the average person would die from very quickly. I think because of his great health, he survived. He's still dealing with the consequences of having that mold. He didn't know it was there. I think his diet actually and lifestyle is helping him live, which would kill the average person. But this could have killed him. And everyone would have been looking at his diet. But no, I mean, you know, there are certain things that certain people do sometimes, and people looking at the diet. Diet is important for health, but it's not everything. Okay. So that's my point here today. I think the raw food diet is still the best diet out there, and nobody's, you know, I'm opening to listening and seeing other things out there, but I see nothing else better for the human body than eating at least an 80% diet of fresh fruits and vegetables, with the majority of them being more vegetables than fruit. I'm a good fan of doing vegetable juices, but not fruit juices. You know, and we want to look at this situation and do the best you can do. That's why I make the Raw Life Health Show here, to help as many people as possible. So that's what I wanted to say here. Don't discount eating a healthy diet just because you hear news like this. And yes, so as more information comes out, not rumors or conspiracies, but information about the facts of how she died and everything else, maybe I'll make a follow-up video. But in the meantime, our heart goes out to her family, but this isn't about her as much as it's about somebody eating a healthy diet, dying at 56, or supposedly healthy diet. Now, I'm not questioning what she's doing, but another thing is, somebody told me a long time ago, what people do in the privacy of their own home, you don't know, which is another thing to consider. So there you have it, folks. And if you have comments or questions, post them below the video. If you knew this lady, maybe you want to say something about it, post it below the video. And I want to encourage you all to stay on a raw vegan diet as much as possible, at least 80% of your foods. Raw, ripe, fresh, organic fruits, vegetables, nuts, and seeds. But don't overdo it, and don't eat late at night. All right. All right, everybody. I know another person. Let me say this before I go. He had ulcerative colitis. David Klein, who wrote magazines and books about healing people with colitis, ended up moving to Hawaii, and then I found out he died. I don't even know the circumstance of that. But, you know, life is more than just diet or food, you know, and there's more to it. I have a whole channel, a biblical channel, about the spiritual side of things and our Creator knowing things that we don't. So if you want to check that out, you can go to Torah Life Ministries here on YouTube or wherever. So, all right, everybody, have a good afternoon. Thank you for watching, and keep eating healthy. Thank you.